not, I'm gonna stand up and I'm gonna crush your face right here.
Do it then, you little
Mash you up.
fart.
You have another question?
Do it. Do it then, you little. What? Do it. Do it. Come on, do something then. Do something. Stand up. What'll you do? You'll do
Topuria
nothing.
is a nightmare.
Yes, he is.
He's a nightmare.
Yeah.
He's scary. I was like,
Nasty.
oh, man.
He's nasty. He beats your legs up and then he forces you to make a mistake and he takes advantage.
Yes.
Every single time.
When I saw him last time, he got a hand sanitizer bottle bounced off his pod.
I
Little
don't understand you anything. Back at the cloudy mountain,
hand sanitizer, boy.
Ilia Topuria, that guy is insane. That guy's knocked out two of the greatest featherweights of all time, Volkanovski and Max Holloway. Charles Oliveira. Nobody can knock those guys out in featherweight before, and he did it. And he did it, and he made it look easy. You know, he made it look like they're like he's just on another level from everybody. You know, and then now he's moving up to 155 pounds. He's like decided he cleared out that division. He's moving up. Like he's
insane. Yeah.
Insane. There's guys like that are just so their level is above everybody else's level. And with Ilia, it's everything. It's his submissions, his kicks, his punches, everything. He can do anything. I mean, he does everything perfect. All his technique is perfect. He's fucking driven and ultra confident. You know, this is an amazing time for the sport, man. It's a crazy time because these guys that are coming in with like one fight in the UFC, they look like world-class contenders, like right away.
UFC Featherweight Championship of the world, introducing Ilia Topuria.
Ilia, the reigning lightweight champion. That was the angle that this was being looked at, of which is accurate and wise. We've got to understand that was being pushed. A champion calls for a fight, that fight happens. And I'm telling you, off the top of your head, to give me an exception. Now, if we're pushing the idea that Ilia is a global superstar, there's things that come with that. There's things that have to happen for you to go in that category. Undefeated is not a complete requirement, but something that resembles undefeated does. Whether maybe it's undefeated for the last 5 years, maybe it's undefeated in the weight class, maybe it's undefeated in the organization. There's an element that comes with it, like there's a real fear and respect that transcends all culture when you hear the word unbeaten. For sure. A championship comes with the idea of being a global superstar. But you're never going to have a global superstar, and you've never had one in any sport ever that didn't have power. Now, power in the UFC only comes in the form of respect. Where they will respect your wish, they will respect your request. I get that somebody doesn't actually have power, but they can have the perception of it. And it can even be a reality. I'll give you a great example, but you talk about a guy that was red hot and did everything right. Oh, he did everything right. Israel Adesanya. And one thing that Israel Adesanya would do every single night, before they faded to black and rolled the credits, he would let the world know who his next opponent was. And it was so powerful. After he says it to Joe Rogan, it's the last thought in everybody's mind. They throw to SportsCenter's what SportsCenter's talking about because Izzy made them talk about it. It happened 100% of the time. There is nobody I have ever seen steer their own career more than Izzy, and that was the element. That's how he got it done. That one thing is how he got it done. But guys, don't forget the night that he calls out Yoel Romero. Yoel Romero was coming off of a loss. Dana's like, I can't put you with Yoel. Not to mention, not only is he coming off a loss, he's an Olympic medalist out of Cuba. You're a skinny kickboxer out of New Zealand. It's a terrible matchup. And Izzy says, hey Dana, I don't like this guy. I want to fight this guy. I got into the one line of work where if you don't like a coworker, you can fight him. I got into the one line of work where that's true. I did what I was supposed to do. And if I don't get to fight him, I'm being punished for my success. Dana goes, oh my goodness. Okay, I'll make the fight. But I'm just sharing with you the idea of Izzy and Izzy's
Fight fans, welcome back to Luxury Tainments. Today, we're diving into one of the most heated and unexpected potential showdowns in UFC history. Paddy the Baddy Pimblett versus Ilia Topuria. Now, I know what you're thinking. Ilia Topuria just brutally knocked out Charles Oliveira and became the new lightweight champ at UFC 317. Meanwhile, Paddy Pimblett hasn't exactly been tested against top-tier contenders yet, but don't count the Baddy out just yet. In this deep dive, we're breaking down why Paddy Pimblett could cause the upset of the year, what each fighter brings to the table, and how this fight might actually play out. Let's get into it. Ilia Topuria flatlined Charles Oliveira and claimed the lightweight title in devastating fashion. Minutes later, Paddy Pimblett storms the cage, and just like that, we've got beef, hype, and maybe a title fight brewing. Justin Gaethje and Arman were cage side, but the UFC smells money, and Dana White knows it. This feud between Paddy and Topuria has McGregor-Khabib level drama. Hate, history, and two totally contrasting personalities. Paddy compared it to Khabib versus McGregor. Topuria responded with straight venom. I want to disfigure his face over 5 rounds. Ladies and gents, the bad blood is real.
You want to talk to me like the man to man? You said something about me. I went to your country. I slapped your face. I get at the wasting win. I walk like a king in your street.
Are you talking English?
And what
there?
you did? What you
Is that
did,
English?
Man? Yeah, of course I
Speak
do.
English for the people.
Shut
lad.
up.
Not German or Spanish like you're from.
I'm
you little
talking.
mongrel.
I'm talking in English and you in English. Y que te follen en español.
Topuria, with 17 wins, no losses, faced off with Pimblett, who has 23 wins, 3 losses, in the octagon, immediately after he knocked out Charles Oliveira to claim the lightweight at UFC 317 main event. Lightweight contenders Arman and Justin Gaethje were also in attendance for the fight. But we see the UFC capitalizing on the already existing beef between Topuria and Pimblett in the world's most famous arena. So can Paddy actually shock the world and be the undefeated monster? Most say no, but I'd say don't be so sure. This is the fight breakdown you didn't know you needed. Let's get into it. Topuria's moment at UFC 317 was iconic. He silenced the crowd with one punch and claimed the gold. Then out of nowhere, here comes Pimblett, face to face with the new king. And you know what? This fight makes perfect sense. Why? Because it's personal. The rivalry goes back years. Social media beefs, backstage fights, press conference chaos. Paddy compared it to McGregor versus Khabib. Topuria, he said he wants to disfigure Pimblett's face over 5 full rounds. Forget rankings. This is storytelling. The UFC smells money and violence. Topuria is explosive, clinical, calculated, and small for a lightweight. Paddy, he walks around at nearly 195 pounds. That's welterweight's mass. That difference might just be the X factor. Now let's look at the strengths for Topuria. Pinpoint boxing, knockout power, iron focus, solid takedown defense. Now let's look at his weaknesses. Size disadvantage, unknown gas tank in rounds 4 and 5. He can get emotional, and he is still untested in deep grappling scrambles. Let's look at Paddy's strengths. He's huge for the weight class. nasty jiu-jitsu and back control, awkward and unpredictable movements, and also unbreakable confidence. His weakness, he gets hit a lot. Also unproven against top 5 killers. He's wild in the earlier rounds and a slow starter. So on paper, Topuria looks like the killer, but fights aren't won on paper. They're won in the cage, and here's where it gets spicy. After UFC 317, Paddy Pimblett ripped into Charles Oliveira's game plan, and to be honest, he had a point. Why the hell would a grappler like Oliveira just stand and trade with a knockout artist like Topuria? Paddy called it amateur and promised he wouldn't make the same mistake. His plan: use size, clinch work, takedowns, pressure, and wear Topuria down. He also told Luxury Entertainment he couldn't knock me out. I'd laugh in his face. That's not just trash talk, that's a strategy. Now let's see how the fight plays out. So round 1, Topuria comes out hunting. Heavy hooks, low kicks, looking for the kill. Paddy backs up, clinches, stalls the storm. If he survives, that's a small win. Round number 2, Topuria slows just slightly. Paddy starts to tie him up, gets him down. Suddenly, we're in Paddy territory. Round 3, this is where chaos begins. Scrambles, reversals. Paddy's weird transitions might force Topuria into mistakes. Round 4 and 5. Now we enter the unknown. Topuria's never been here before. Paddy has, and thrives when it's messy. One mistake, Paddy gets the back, crowd goes wild, and bam, rear naked choke. Sounds crazy? Maybe, but MMA is the most unpredictable sport on the planet.
UFC superstar without power. It can't happen. The superstar must have power. And we've ran into a situation where Ilia has called out Paddy the Baddy. Exactly like Adesanya used to do, to say his name at the end of the night. Not to mention, he called out an undefeated guy. Paddy's not just some guy. He used to be kind of a guy with his weird haircut that was a regional talent. And it turned out he was a little better than we thought he was. Well, excuse me, he's been in the UFC for 3.5 years now. He's undefeated. He's not just some guy. He's an undefeated contender. That's a real call-out. That's one of the reasons that Izzy got away with the Yoel call-out, even if Yoel was coming off a loss. That's a straight-up killer. We don't usually go to a guy coming off a loss, but we could. And they did. But see, now we're being confronted with a resistance to that fight. And I don't know what direction they're going to go. I'm just here to watch what's happening, identify it, and tell it to you. Sarukian's argument is fantastic. Sarukian, by the numbers, he's ranked number 1. I don't know what Paddy's ranked. I would imagine he's 5 or 6. Could be as high as 4. But either way, I do know what Sarukian's ranked. He's ranked number 1. I do know Sarukian was the backup fighter, got on the scale, and could have fought one of these guys on Saturday for the world title. So you can't really come in and tell him he's not good enough or the right guy to fight for a world title, considering he almost did it 48 hours ago. Hell yeah, Sarukian's the guy. It's a little hard to tell Sarukian that he's not a number 1 contender when he was in the weight class with Islam, had already fought Islam, and was getting ready to fight Islam again. And he hasn't lost a fight since then. So it's a little hard to make believe that he just lost that position. Though it is possible, though you can do it. You don't necessarily have to fight again to be knocked down. It goes 2 ways. There's another elevator that's going up. You could have a guy that had a fight and he moved up. But it's a difficult conversation to have. And there does seem to be a little bit of pushback to the idea of Paddy. We've never had a face-off. We've never had an organic face-off. Not one, not ever. Not one exception that you can give me where that fight wasn't then made. But there does appear that there is a resistance to making that fight. And that consideration, or what would you do instead, could only go to Sarukian, of which I would support and you would support, but it's a separate conversation. Right now we're just talking about
Make no mistake, this fight is risky for Topuria. He could fight Arman, he could wait for Islam, he could take the safe path, but he wants Paddy, because this isn't just about defending a title, it's about hurting someone. And when you fight with hate, you make mistakes. Ask Aldo, ask Rockhold, ask McGregor. So can Paddy Pimblett pull off the unthinkable? He's got the size, the jiu-jitsu, the grit, and the wild card energy to ruin Topuria's fairy tale. If he survives round 1, all bets are off. This could be the next GSP versus Matt Serra, or it could be a 60-second demolition. Either way, the UFC's got gold on their hands. MSG, December, hate, hype, violence. Let me know in the comments who wins. Does Paddy shock the world, or does Ilia make another highlight reel? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more fight breakdowns. We're just getting started. This is Luxurytainment, and I'll catch you in the next one. And have a lovely day.
Guy really tough. If you want to stop him, you have to choke him or knock him out. This guy is gonna fight 5 rounds.
Potential #1 contender, Islam Makhachev. That is the fight that needs to happen.